Alright, peace, y'all. You know who it is, your boy the Anarchist. I'm sitting here with my boy Invisiblekatana and my other boy, Mr. Fantastic. How y'all doing, man?
Good, man. Pretty good.
Yo, welcome back to the show. This is A Few Nobodies Talking About Nothing podcast, where we basically talk about nothing except for what interests the people in this very room. Now, Mr. Fantastic, it's interesting, man. You text me earlier with a good topic, the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Golden Globes. If you guys don't know, the Golden Globes, who nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody gives a fuck about.
Women.
Except for middle-aged white women. They go crazy over it. But everybody else is just like, what the fuck? The Golden Globe. But yeah, you know, I guess the Golden Globes, the only thing we care about that they're doing is they seem to be nominating the film Get Out. Director Jordan Peele, they have that nominated in the comedy section for movies. Which is odd because if you go on IMDb, the film itself classifies itself as a mystery/thriller.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. It's not even close to being a comedy.
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
closest thing to a comedy it is satire.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Making fun of the fact that white people want to be athletic like black people. Like that's the core of the movie.
Right.
And here it is. You know. Oh, we're going to give a nudge to this movie, but we're going to put it in a comedy. So to me, that comes out as, well, we got to nominate it for something, but it's not good enough to be what it is. You know, let's put it in something that's not going to win. Or it could win that so that we could let something else win in the drama
Suspense,
part.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
suspense.
Do they do, because I'm sure they don't do specifically horror, but I know it's always, drama, suspense is always.
But thriller, yeah.
together,
Mystery,
yeah. Like
that's
thriller,
got to
yeah.
be a nomination. But the thing is, all right, let's
And
keep
he
it-
did get nominated as director. Like,
No.
that blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Let's put a little bit of context on it because I did look this up and I found out that the thing is we could get mad at Golden Globe, but you have to submit films under different categories. So what we have to understand is Universal, the distributor that distributes the movie Get Out, submitted it under a comedy. And I guess the reason behind that was because, well, they didn't actually put a reason behind that. People can speculate, like maybe it's because they wanted it to get, you know, they know it's a good movie, and if they put it in a comedy realm, then it'll probably
Like
be
an easy win.
Yeah, yeah.
Deal, probably.
But you know, what do you guys think of that?
It's still, I mean, even if it was like an easy win sort of thing, it's not. It's just not what it is.
Win
It's just,
in its own category.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie was one of the best movies of the year. I mean, not only
Yeah.
was it suspenseful and had you on the edge of your seat, it got you thinking. It got you thinking about stuff that is uncomfortable to think about. And for me, when a movie does that, it's a great movie, not a comedy.
And it's just like, because I was thinking about it when I saw when you first sent the text, it was like, classifying it as a comedy is like taking literally one element of it and making it the whole point. It was like, people don't look at The Matrix as a post-apocalyptic movie, but that's, you know, like, the world is destroyed, but that's not what the movie is. It's a sci-fi movie with all these different elements, but people don't say it's like Mad Max is post-apocalyptic.
It's not a karate movie, even though
it really
it's
got
karate.
me.
Yeah.
It really got me thinking about what type of movie it was. So I rewatched it, and for me, like, yes, it has hilarious parts, but what type of movie like that doesn't?
Right. You gotta have,
You know, you gotta have a
comedy.
little bit of humor. You know, because things like that, uncomfortable things, scary things, you know, your first
need
reaction
that
is to
breather,
laugh.
yeah.
Yeah, you need a breather. And so, you know, I mean, I don't know. The Universal, whoever, to me, feels like they took away from what that movie was about. What that movie was supposed to be.
Yeah, because on Twitter, Jordan Peele says, you know, it's a documentary, which I'm sure, you know, a bit of that was, you know, a joke, but obviously it's based off of real life stuff.
Yeah.
So even if it can't be in the, you know, documentary category for whatever reason, it's still not in the comedy category because it's definitely a thriller. Like, I mean, even the trailer is like
a perfect
horror
example that
thing.
Yeah, a perfect example that deals with the same type of stuff but truly is a comedy is Blazing Saddles.
Yes. I think that, yeah, that's definitely.
You know, and when I think about both of those movies and I compare them, they're nothing alike.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They talk about the same stuff and they do it in a similar way, of like with the humor and all that stuff and the tongue in cheek. But when you look at both movies as a whole,
Yeah, it's definitely
one is not the same. They're not the same, you know.
Well, you know, I had a idea, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on it. I know for a fact that, of course, like most people, I do not watch the Golden Globes or any movie.
I didn't even know what
show.
award thing it was.
See, I thought it was.
No, but the thing is, the Golden Globes is like the pre-thing for the Oscars.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of films that get Golden Globe nominations, they also get Oscar nominations. It's
Yeah,
like,
but the Golden Globes is kind of fucked up anyway, because you also notice that like brand new movies that just came out get nominated and they're awful. Some of them, sometimes they're awful, and it's like you're just trying to promote this movie. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what awards to me are. They're just promotions for shit.
Well, the thing is, I only bring that up is if you look at the Golden Globes as like a precursor for the Oscar Awards. Now, even though a lot of people look at the Golden Globes like the mini Oscars or the wannabe Oscars, like if you look at a movie, it will say, okay, Golden Globe nominated, Oscar nominated. So it lets you know if the Golden Globes recognize it in the area,
Usually
then
the Oscars
the Oscars
are
does.
good,
So
yeah.
the thing is, take it back to this movie, Get Out. It was a little independent film by kind of a nobody comedy dude, Jordan Peele, who he put like what $4 million into the movie and it ultimately made $250 million. People really liked it. And not only do people like it, when you look at the film, just from a technical standpoint, it was a brilliant film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, what if, and this is my conspiracy voice, like, what if they just kind of just like, you know, fuck what people think, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't really want to give this film too much shine. Like, put it in a comedy category, to me, is like almost making it a joke. Like, this is a joke.
Perfect example, and I don't know why we keep bringing him up, so I apologize to the listeners. But like M. Night Shyamalan did the same thing with Sixth Sense, right? He was a nobody director. Even though I wouldn't consider Jordan Peele a nobody, but as a director in that type of genre,
Right.
Yeah, that was
sure,
his-
yeah, I'll give you that. And so, but he was held up high on this pedestal. I mean, oh my God, amazing, amazing. So my question is if some other type of person made this movie, Get Out, would they be getting recognized? Because now that I think about it, Jordan Peele should have been nominated as a director, 100%. You know, this movie should be getting, we should be talking about the fact it only got one nomination.
Yeah, because the acting was definitely well done. I mean, I don't know all the categories, but like you said, directing at least for sure, something cinematography based or something else from a technical standpoint. Without a doubt, it has a million different merits. So, with it being, you know, like you mentioned, if it was somebody else, would they be, you know, on that pedestal like M. Night Shyamalan? It's hard to say. Like, is it, you know, like I don't know if it's just because he's black or, you know, if that's really what it is.
Did you hear what I just said? This movie grossed.
I know.
I know, man.
250. The people in Hollywood should be lined up to suck this man's dick. I mean, they might have already did.
With
You know what's
everything
going
coming
on.
out, they
Yeah,
might
you know what's
have.
going on. They might have already did, but what I'm trying to say is they need to be, you know what I'm saying, a little bit more like, okay, you know, this is a director came out of nowhere and just brought this many moviegoers
switch
to
from
a
comedy
movie.
to horror/drama. Yeah.
Seamlessly.
You know, and he did what a lot of people cannot do. He tackled a really, really tough issue, you know, a touchy subject, and he did it to where you almost can't get any complaints. You know what I'm saying? Black people love this movie. White people love this movie, and it's a movie that's tackling a subject about race, be it a more dramatized, you know, theatrical way, but that's what made it really enjoyable. So yes, I do feel like they do not want to
when
give.
she's on the computer. Oh man.
Looking up her,
looking over.
prospects. Look at that black man. But yeah, you know, it was a great film. It was funny, but it definitely was not a comedy. The comedy was, you know, at some points kind of dark. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh man, when he goes in the trance.
that was
Oh
a
man,
real,
that shit.
Man, that scene was amazing. Like, you know, that could go down as one of the, just the way he switched it up, because those CGI graphics in that particular scene, we're talking about the when he first get into the sunken place.
Yeah.
You did not expect that in that movie. So yeah, like that is a directing thing I would give a nod to, but of course, you know.
It's just like a weird situation. Like, when did the movie come out? It was
February?
Yeah, it was definitely early. And so I would say with everything that happened with that movie, like you mentioned, you know, as far as it being popular and grossing so much money.
Right. There's a lot of movies that gross a lot of money that aren't critically acclaimed. But this movie is though.
You're right.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's just like and not just the movie itself, but like him, like, I mean, he could be doing, you know, working on something right now, but yeah, you don't really hear about the next big thing from him or how everyone's clamoring after him, even though this was such an insane surprise of a success.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting, you know, and like you said, coming down to Universal, putting it in that category, it's just like, well, what are they thinking? You know, like, how did they feel about the movie after it was all said and done?
You know, they trying to pitch a. Let's just call it what it is. You're trying to pitch a whole movie because you don't think, like, of course it's gonna win. If it's in comedy, of course it's gonna fucking win. What other comedy is as good as that movie? But if you put it in a thriller, if you put it in a mystery, people like that movie. Like, why wouldn't people vote for that? So yeah, you just saying don't acknowledge it over here. Acknowledge it over here in the joking section. You know, and that's kind of how it always is. But
brush it under the rug. I feel, you know,
basically, basically. But let's stick in the realm of movie, film type things. Let's talk about Disney and its impact over the world. According to Mr. Fantastic, Disney is ruling the world.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 4 little girls. 3 of them are at that age where they tell me what they want. You know, they're excited. Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse. Okay. Doc McStuffins was last year, right? Good Luck Charlie, comic books, superheroes, Marvel, Spider-Man, sports, Monday Night Football. These are the things they love that is all owned by Disney. All of it. You know, ESPN, ABC. I mean, it's all owned, and they groom you to be a consumer for their shit. Period. They recognize it. And it's crazy. We went, we had Tree Day today, which is our way of like decorating everything and doing all that. And we went to we always go to Target to pick out a couple of things. Non-Disney ornaments were $4 to $6. Anything Disney was $7 to $15.
Wow, just ornaments?
Just ornaments, dude.
Wow.
Just ornaments. And you look around at the toy section and everything, and 80% of it's Disney-owned
if
things.
It's Marvel or Star Wars now, it's all Disney.
It's all Disney.
And then all the actual Disney stuff.
And Barbie has the princesses, and you know, I mean, it's insane. Like, okay, a trick that we do, so parents out there, if you're listening, or if you're gonna become a parent, the day after Halloween, go to wherever you want to go. Walmart, Sam's Club is really good because they don't sell a lot of costumes, that kind of stuff. Get all the stuff that your kid's into, because it's half off. Because now we went to Target and a Disney princess outfit is $50. $50.
Yeah, it's like Disney's like the kid version of what I would say compares to like Apple or for people who are really in the cameras, GoPro.
Yeah,
it's very brand based, whereas like you can have this great thing from somewhere else, but because that brand, you know, the Disney brand is on there, like Apple or GoPro, you're paying for that name pretty much. Yeah. And with Disney, I think it's at least better because it is at least their characters for real with, you know, other elements. But
not only that, but they ultimately link themselves to nostalgia and to making you feel good, and so they've got you hooked at a very young age.
Yeah, they are like the continuation of what things used to be as far as like cartoons and stuff. Like Looney Tunes isn't nearly as big as it was before because they don't really have stuff out. Like I believe there is currently a Looney Tunes show. And
their marketing's awful. Like Boomerang was an old channel. It was amazing. They didn't market it very well. It fell off. Yeah. Now, when they should have done it 3 years ago, Boomerang's a streaming service.
Yeah, and it's like that's, you know, Boomerang Cartoon Network is where you would see Looney Tunes, and then Disney would be all the classic
Time Warner, right?
Yeah, all the Disney stuff. But Disney keeps that stuff going, and it's like, well, every once in a while there might be a new Looney Tunes show. Maybe insanely rarely there might be some movie that comes out, but Disney is pumping out all the TV shows, all their movies,
straight to DVD kids shows, and
all that stuff. And it's like they keep that going. And like you said, as far as nostalgia, you have, you know, people who are into Disney, like I'm sure Demetrius and I were, you know, old Disney cartoons, and then, you know, you even literally have DuckTales, like that. They remade that, you know, and it's coming back, and people are, you know, or it's back right now, and people love it. So, you know, like you said, that's that sort of thing where they just keep it going. Like they have that, and it never.
And
stops.
us as consumers keep it going too, not even knowing. Like we have traditions on Trito where we watch movies. One of the first ones we watch is the Santa Claus. It's one of my wife's favorite movies. Whatever. Well, we're subconsciously telling our kids, Disney, 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 Disney. you know, and like ABC Family does the 25. That is all Disney movies.
Yeah,
it's all Disney movies, you know, for the most part, and because it's owned by Disney.
Yeah, and it just kind of keeps going that way. Like you said, they have so many different things, and you won't even know that it's, you know, Disney based. Like, I didn't know ESPN was owned by Disney. But yeah, it's just that continuation, and then them growing into having bought Marvel and growing into having bought Star Wars. You know, they have that.
And look what they did with it. They mainstreamed it, and people fucking can't get enough of that shit.
I mean, but when was Star Wars never mainstream? Like,
okay, I'll answer you this.
We can have that conversation.
No, so 2 years ago, you'd see Star Wars stuff, it was cool. Now you see Star Wars makeup, you see Star Wars jewelry, you see Star Wars clothes, and you see Star Wars girl clothes, you see Star Wars toys everywhere. They're gonna have a theme park for it. You know, that wasn't there 2 or 3 years ago.
So should they not? Because of course, you could say George Lucas and Star Wars sold to Disney, and of course, if a bigger corporation gets a hold of you, should they not expand to everywhere? I feel like this is like the conversation we was having about, you know, like you were saying, well, you know, once you get out to a wider audience. But I think a lot of artists, especially if you talk about hip hop music, could argue, well, if you talk about hip hop, the hip hop culture and purists, they'll say, well, we didn't want corporations to take over our music and mass distribute it to everybody else so they can feel like they're hip hop too. But that's just what happened. So, I mean, why will we get mad at something like Disney and Star Wars for that?
I mean, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
You just kind of noticing
like,
like they
damn, like
over.
Disney.
I mean,
Disney's a machine. It's not a bad machine.
Yeah, if anything,
you know, I enjoy
is,
Disney, but it's I mean, they have a formula. They've done it for over 50 years, and it works. I mean, they do the same thing every single time. Every single time.
I only give you the opposition just because you know me, I'm the anarchist. I want to say fuck corporations all day, and it is fuck corporations. But the thing is, as I look at Disney, and if I look at it in an objective way, a lot of people, they kind of revere Walt Disney, and I understand why, even though you're not going to look at him and say, oh, he's a racist, might have been a pedophile, whatever. But if you just look at what he did in the business realm, you can admire a lot of stuff like that. Like, you know, he started out doing cartoons. Anybody who has a passion for anything, and, you know, you just look at somebody who built a career out of their passion. Like, this is a dude who wanted to draw. And based on that passion, he created a whole industry that, you know, as Mr. Fantastic say, is actually ruling the world right now. But it just started from a dude with a passion of drawing, and he wasn't even that good of a drawer. He, you know, got a job at Universal. They kind of played him, and I think that kind of, I relate to that because, you know, just to see a dude go through that much failure, and then just to see what something that his mind created that is like permeating the entire world.
Well, Walt Disney is revered in Kansas City.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he used to work for him. He used to live there and work there and stuff like that before he got big. And so Walt Disney is just part of what you learn back home and all that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just insane to think that it was this weird guy who just liked to draw and wanted to share that with people. And now it's just this giant money-making machine. Yeah, and I, you know, just going into his story, when I, you know, found out like he used to work for Universal, and he came up with a lot of ideas for him, like I forget the rabbit, but Oswald, yeah. And then rabbit, when he kind of got ousted by them, he went and did his own thing. You talk about a dude who left a corporation, started his own business, and now, you know, is on par with like Exxon and Apple and all these different corporations. So, you know, I think that's just a good tale for somebody now. Like, you look at a Google or Amazon or you know, any of these different businesses coming up that could possibly 20 years, 30 years down the line be like a big powerhouse. You know, that just kind of shows you like anybody could do it. You know, somebody can get fired from a corporation, start their own corporation, and decades later, you know, create something that rivals them, you know. Yeah, and
so, with like, have either of you ever been to like Disney World or Land?
I've been to, what's the one in Orlando?
Disney World.
That's
Disney World, yeah.
Yeah, because I went there last year, and that was the first time I'd ever been.
Oh man.
So
it's magical. I mean, it is. It's fucking
for kids
awesome.
And adults.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Like, my wife is going for her first time ever. We're going next summer. We got a family reunion, and we're in Atlanta, and Atlanta's only about 7 to 9 hours from Florida. So we're driving out there with the kids, and like, I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait to show them Disney World, because it's amazing for kids from 1 to 92, man.
When so when we went, just to do like a quick little thing, it was for a family reunion. We were in Florida, and we did Universal and Disney World. And I'd been to Universal when I was like super young.
Yeah.
But I'd never been to Disney World. And Shayna at the time, she used to work there, so she was all excited. We were going, and I'm like, all right. World? Yeah, she worked there for like 4 months or something like that. I always thought it was forever, as much as she talked about it. She was like, it was only like 4 months. And I was
they have to go through like rigorous training and like all this stuff.
You can't. It was something crazy. You can't point with one finger. If someone says like, where is something, you have to point with either 2 fingers or 4 of your fingers. Damn. Like that's one of the things they do. So we went there, and we went to the Magic Kingdom because my aunt wanted to take my baby cousin, this, Mickey, Minnie, all that stuff. So we got out. It was like, okay, this is super cool. Everything looks really cool. For me, I was like, none of this matters. This is like, the Magic Kingdom was like the kids crap to me. I was like, I'm ready to go to like the movie section. That's where like the Tower of Terror was and Star Wars. And when we got there, it was like insane for me because I was like, that's where Star Wars is. There's like, as a Star Wars fan, it was insane for me. So I love that, and I can't wait until they do like the full park. But it was awesome. And then after that, we went back to the Magic Kingdom section. But like, I didn't know Disney World was like that big.
Oh, it's
where
huge.
It was like it has like 3 or 4 freeway exits itself.
Yeah,
and like
huge.
it's insane. Yeah,
it's huge. I mean, and to think, he said, you know what, I can buy this for really cheap and make something. I mean, it's insane that it just started with one person and now it runs the world.
It's international.
Yeah, so in conclusion, Disney permeates all of our minds. It has us under total mind control. And speaking of mind control, a topic that I wanted to bring up today is talking about MK Ultra mind control. But before we get into that, man, I want to switch it over to music a little bit because you had an interesting topic, Mr. Fantastic, about changing genres, and you mentioned Darius Rucker, and I'm curious where you want to go with that. What do you want to?
Okay, so he was a huge success as the lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish in the early '90s, and they're a really good band. I mean, they made music after their Broken River Mirror, I think, which was a really big successful album, and I kind of kept up with him, and then he just kind of disappeared for a little while, and now he's a huge country star. I mean, huge, like headlining big events, headlining all this stuff, and it got me thinking like about music and changing genres and how hard it is, because music is an emotional thing. And it's really cool because it's an emotional thing for the person making it and for the person listening to it. Like, when I get sad or whatever and I'm trying to get out of a funk, I always listen to Dashboard Confessional. That's who I go to. But the funny thing about that is when people do that, even though consumers' music tastes change, and that's normal. It changes all the time. We're allowed to listen to whatever kind of music we want to, Oh, I'm eclectic. Oh, that's so cool. What all do you listen to? I listen to all kinds of music. But when an artist does that, it's like, why aren't you singing the same stuff that, so it's really, it's really interesting to me that Darius Rucker was able to have millions of fans as a lead singer for a adult contemporary 90s rock band, and then be a completely different artist as a country music star and have millions of people. You don't see that very often. No. I mean, remember Garth Brooks tried to do it and completely failed. Some rappers have tried to do it and completely failed.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because one rapper that comes to my mind is Lil Wayne. When he tried to go rock, do you remember that?
Yeah,
I do not.
He came out with an album called Rebirth, doing this little rock thing, and the shit failed miserably. Even though he had some songs in there, but I think probably his problem was that he was doing his rendition of rock. If you are a person who listens to rock music and then you go and listen to Lil Wayne, you can tell this is a dude who's not really well versed in it. Maybe he like Green Day or some shit like that, but he's not
hardcore rock.
Yeah, he's not really into the rock culture like that. So he's doing his interpretation of rock. I think with Darius Rucker, and I have to be totally honest, I don't know any of Hootie and the Blowfish's music. I don't know one song from them.
I don't
to be honest with you, I don't know nothing about them.
Okay, until you just said it, I thought that they were country, and then
I did too. I'm like, that's why I was so confused when he.
Well, listen to it. I mean, but that leads to the argument: is country really country music anymore, and all that stuff. But for me, it's just the fact that like he was in a band. It was a completely different sound than what he's doing now. But kind of like what you said, is it really because he did grow up on country music and root rock, which is what country music is now, or like southern rock? Since he grew up on that, he was able to give the passion of that type of music, unlike a Lil Wayne or Garth Brooks, who didn't really grow up on it, and they're just trying to find a different sound.
Right.
And okay, so I think a part of that, like you mentioned growing up, I think it might just be the fact that, you know, he liked it. Like you mentioned Lil Wayne doing a rendition of rock. He may not have liked it as much as what he was trying to do. Like he may have liked it, and then like you saying Darius Rucker switching and it works.
Yeah.
I think a part of that, like even whether it's growing up or not, I think it just comes from actually liking it or like even loving it.
A great band to talk about with this is My Chemical Romance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when they came out, they were a screamo band. They were really emo and everything. And then the Black Parade came out. You could totally tell they were listening to Queen. When, you know, they were really into Queen when they made that album, because it sounded just like that.
And that, I think, is something where you don't have to grow up on it, but you do have to legitimately love it.
Yeah.
Like I don't do music, but like I love like rock music. I do love. Like I think if I actually knew how to play any instruments, I could probably make something. Maybe not lyric based, but as far as the sound, I could probably produce something that does actually sound like rock, because that's what I really like. But I think, you know, I mean, you'll have people who are actors. I can't even think of his. Kiefer Sutherland. I was gonna say Kiefer Sutherland. He did like a country song about drinking whiskey and stuff like that. I don't know if that's
Eddie
speaks to
Murphy
him drinking a lot or what.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy's song is really good. I like
it. It is really good. No, I love it, man. Party all the time.
That's a really catchy song. So I like that one.
And then he got on the Band-Aid Christmas song.
Yeah.
The what song?
To help Africa.
We Are the World.
Yeah.
Now they put him on there too. Okay,
Yeah.
they put everybody on
That's a
there.
funny one.
Yeah. You know, I think you got to really love music. I think people can hear, because like I said, I have never heard Hootie and the Blowfish. I don't think. I mean, I probably have, but I don't remember any of their songs. But I did hear a few Darius Rucker songs. Like it was one featured in like a kids movie I was watching with my niece, and I was listening to it. I'm like, this is a good song, well written, great music. Like
he's very talented.
Yeah,
I mean, I love Darius Rucker.
Me just being a hater that I am, you know, I can just see a black man doing country, like, what the fuck? You don't get your black ass out of there.
But see, that's the thing, man. Like, you like music for what you like, and that's why I like music so much, because it's not a black or white thing or an Asian thing or a thing. It's if you like what you like, you know.
Right? But for some reason, I never got into country. It used to be jazz, classical, and country. Since I got into jazz, because, you know, a lot of it I listen to is instrumental, and it's real smooth to me. Classical I got into, because same thing, real smooth instrumental, you know what I'm saying? But country,
I never really liked
now I just can't get into that shit.
There's a tear in my beer.
One thing like y'all keep into that shit, man.
Bleed America, you know, like.
This is silly stuff. Like this, I forgot. It was a YouTube video I was watching. It's, Ryan Higa. He was talking about how to sing country music. And it was like, you gotta sound like an alarm going off at super high pitch. He was like, and
well, and there's such like promotional whores too.
Really?
Like, yeah, like Taylor Swift. Like, my wife loves country music, so Taylor Swift officially transitioned to pop.
Right.
But she still got a CMA award this year.
Right, because they gotta keep her like she's still ours. She's still ours.
Yeah,
she started here.
But you know what I mean, like. And then they have like like Lionel Richie came out with a country album.
The fuck?
Yeah.
The fuck Lionel Richie doing with a country album? What you doing, Lionel Richie?
You know, and then like
switching it up.
Now I'm just playing. Do what you want to do. But like I said, man, I can't get into
Kid Rock.
country.
Kid Rock's another one.
Actually, that's one person I was gonna bring up when you talk about the topic of changing, because Kid Rock, of course, being from Detroit, I know he started off as a rap artist.
I would say rap rock, but yeah.
Yeah, like rap, but he did rap. He kind of did traditional rap when he first came out. Where you hear the beats, and then he kind of made a really good transition over to rock, where he kind of still had his little rap flow, but it was clearly rock songs, and that did well. Like, you know, people know him for being a rock artist, but now, and then he transitioned over to country, which I'm like, what the fuck? You know
I feel like he's still sort of. I'd still say he's rock. I mean, southern rock, so it has that sort of country twang, to use a term.
But man, I've never heard so much Kid Rock in my life. They're proud of that motherfucker.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, every station you turn it to,
song,
like,
I had the same song where it starts with him saying "I'm Kid Rock." That's the only song that still plays on the actual radio. But
no, he's got the one where it's to the beat of Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was a good
That
one.
one, I hear that one here all the time. I'm like, God damn.
I think, okay,
and Photograph too.
I think because when we were talking about a lot of like Kid Rock, I think one group to kind of mention, they didn't really switch, but they kind of had two of things, is the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Definitely rap and rock together.
Okay,
for
I kind of
sure.
I see him as a hip hop band mostly.
They were mostly hip hop, but there
I
were
just
definitely
feel
some
like-
songs.
Well, I
where
think
it's
they
like-
definitely trailblazed for people like Kid Rock and you know
Even an Eminem in rap.
yeah, or you know, Ray. I mean, I know they kind of came up fairly,
Sorta, yeah.
you know, a few years, but like Rage was able to do what they did because of them, and
Right.
you know, so yeah. I mean, that's funny. They started out as a rap, but they influenced a completely different genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say, another good example would be Michael Jackson. Well, Beat It is probably the best example as far as rock, but he definitely had, you know, it was pop music mostly, but there were.
now when we get into Michael Jackson, we get into a real gray area because he was pretty much able to do every single thing, because not only was he such a musical talent, but behind closed door, this guy was just an actual genius. If you go back and listen to some of the interviews that Michael Jackson did,
Oh, with producers and stuff.
yeah,
and like,
he literally, when he got like so much power after being a kid and performing and
Yeah.
doing all that work and getting with Motown and just getting that name, when he went on his own, he just made all the right moves. You first hook up with Quincy Jones, the most powerful producer in music, and then
And he's the most powerful producer in music because of Michael Jackson.
right,
Partly,
yeah,
you
even
know.
before Michael, he was that man. You know,
Yeah.
so he was the dude to go to. And then, you know, I can just all the names that he hooked up with when the R&B scene popped. He got with Rodney Jerkins, aka Darkchild. He just knew, he always kept his ear to the streets. When in the 80s, when he was the most biggest, or he was the most popular, he was looking to hip hop kids, b-boys. They pop locking, because if you look at his dance style, it's mostly just a pop
like
and
break
rock
dance,
type of
yeah.
style. Yeah, you know, so he was that dude to just look for what's coming up, what can I get on, and you know, he could transition he could do rap. I mean, well, he didn't do rap, but
Yeah.
you know, he could do rock, he could do pop, he can do R&B,
He'd have
he can do it
rappers
all.
in the songs at
So
least.
when we
yeah,
talk
stuff
about
like
Michael
that,
Jackson,
yeah.
we are literally talking about a guy.
like
all
the
right?
spectrum, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just go across
Michael
the board with
Jackson's
that.
one of the
Yeah.
greatest
So,
musicians
get out of here with
out
all
there.
that. You know, he gonna do it all. You know, he gonna do. But getting back to the subject of mind control. One of the things I want to talk about, because I'm that conspiracy factualist. No theories here, all facts. MK Ultra. What do you guys know about it?
I just know the name.
Yeah.
I know it's the secret, some other secret government thing. It's
the secret.
It's the thing that shows up in TV a lot. If
Yeah.
it's not the CIA, it's MK Ultra.
Yeah.
What you know,
That's
Mr.
really-
Fantastic?
That's about it, man.
Man, look up this MK Ultra shit. I think there's a movie called MK Ultra, but it might be whack. I haven't seen it. But basically what it is MK, I guess, stands for mind control. They actually try to hide it in the name, MK Ultra. But yeah, man, spanning a few years back, maybe 50 years back, the U.S. government, tandem with the CIA, kind of got into some really gray areas when it comes to mind control and behavioral, you know, things like that. And a lot of things you can look for in your research is torture. You know, they would keep people awake for a long time, and you know, just anything. You can go, this thing goes back, and it's documents that solidify everything. I think in 1995 America had to kind of come out and say, oh, we apologize
Yeah.
for all the mind control
yeah,
activity.
The weird stuff.
We're stop doing it.
We're already under mind control, man. I mean, one of the things I think about is, you know, when you look at our phones, I don't want this phone, I need this phone.
Yeah.
Right? Why? You don't need a phone to survive. You don't need a car to survive. You don't need, you don't need name brand clothes to survive. Yet we use the word need in that. That's a type of mind control to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think we're already there.
You know, it's a really interesting form of mind control too, because a lot of people kind of, you know, they gloss over this, but Donald Trump, as much of an idiot as he is, he's smart in one way, which is that he knows he can use his power to get around the most intelligent people in the world. And I feel like he probably got with a bunch of people who said, you know, do this, do that. This is good. This is, you know, some probably real people that's good at, because when you talk about mind control, this is one of the most polarizing people maybe in human history. Like, this guy's going to go down in history. He's a president.
Yeah.
So, you know, you look at how he can just get one group of people to be just 100% on his side no matter what he says, and then you get how he can sway the minds and opinions of one group of people who's just going to basically disagree with every single thing he says. Like somebody, an individual person who can make you feel that passionate about something has you under a particular. That's really what mind control is. You know what I'm saying? So all those years that the government was doing MK Ultra, what they were really figuring out with scientists and psychology was basically they were spending that time, and we finally got to the point where we understand the human mind. We know it, so now we can control it. So that's how corporations like Apple can say, okay, we're coming out with the new Apple. The new feature is you can face scan, which is, you know, technology we had probably for about 20 years, but now the new iPhone X, you can scan your face, and that's the only thing you can do. But you need this phone $700 or $1,000, you know, things like that. So, and people in their minds go, I have to go get it. It's the new app. So they've conditioned. It's a way of conditioning people based on your brand, symbols, how they feel about it. That's Apple.
Yeah.
Like I only use Apple. I'm an Apple person.
Yeah,
I'm a Mac person. I'm a PC person. Like, no, you're a human being. Fuck do you mean you're a PC? Like,
Yeah.
But this is the mind control. You know what I mean? And it's simple stuff like that. So that's how, you know.
Just like we were talking about with Disney.
Right. You can really say fuck Disney. My kids is gonna grow up on Nickelodeon cartoons or something. But you know, you grew up with it. Lion King, Toy Story. You feel a way about it.
Classic
you know?
animated films pretty much are Disney. Yeah. And it's just.
I mean, I'm thinking about my top 10, and like 7 of them are Disney related at least.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, as far as mind control, it is that sort of, you know, knowing what the people like and knowing how, you know, like the pulse of where the economy is, whether it's good or bad. You can still be like, no matter what, I think you can be a brand in the worst of economic times. Unless we go like back to the actual depression, you can be a brand no matter what. And
there was still people, businesses thriving in. There was, you know, some of the top businesses now were thriving in the depression. Like that's a big thing.
Like if you are at the top, if you are that brand, it doesn't matter what the economy is. It just matters what you got next. That next thing is like, and it always depends on the person. Because like I've never cared about phones and stuff. My thing is video games. But even then, I won't go out and buy something day one if I don't have the money. I don't feel like I need to have this. I want it for sure because like eventually some game will come out where I'm like, I definitely want that. But like
when it overpowers you, like I won't pay the bill today. I just
like that doesn't happen. Like when the PS3 first came out.
But people do that kind of shit.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, I saw a stat the other day. 67% of people max out their credit cards during this time of year.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense
because I gotta get the gifts. I have to get the gifts.
You gotta get the gifts, and then you know Black Friday's coming up. It's either on sale or if it's not, it's Christmas, so you gotta have something. So it's gotta be there. So and like you max it out, and it is what it is. And
man. Mind control, it's a real thing, you know, and the bigger corporations, they hire people to gauge things. So I want our listeners to kind of take note of that. Like if you just get a strong feeling over like tangible object things or just kind of test yourself when the next time you get mad, say, what am I really mad about? You know what I'm saying? Is this person or is this, you know, thing that I'm watching or experiencing, does it really have that much control on me
it's like apps that have streaks where you have to log in every day and then you miss it. It's like that's the thing. Like I think it's Snapchat, and people are like obsessed with that. Where it's like I gotta log in every day, see what's stuff going like on. That. Yeah, just to have a streak, not even to really care. You just logged in and have a streak for.
And they've trained you to use their product.
Yeah. So that's a real thing, man. We want to watch out for that. But last topic I want to end with, I want to get real philosophical with you guys. Real philosophical. I know I texted it kind of, whoa, but is God real? I don't know. What do you guys think? Mr. Fantastic, let me hear from you.
Yes.
God is real.
So my belief is that there is something out there. Call it God, call it Allah, call it Jesus Christ, call it whatever you want. But there is a higher power. I mean, I've seen too much crazy shit in my day to believe otherwise. But what I honestly believe is that when you die, whatever you believe in is what you're going to remember, what's going to happen to you. I mean, it's been scientifically proven that 7 minutes after you are dead, quote unquote, your brain is still active. Why is that? What's going on? And I think that's your sense of serenity, heaven, seeing all the people. And, you know, for me, if that's what you believe, great. That's what gets you through your day. That's amazing. It allows you to be a better person. Because if you look at the pure standpoint of believing in a God, they all have rules of being a good person. They all talk about love and caring. And if you remember that, then, you know, you're a better person for it. So I'm not going to get mad if you believe in God. I'm not going to get mad if you don't believe in God. Whatever belief system you have is what gets you through and makes you a better person. Now, on the other side of that, I wish it wasn't a big deal. You know, because people die for it. People kill for it. People hate other people for it. You know, they try to read between the lines. Because we got to remember, everything that has been given to us, no matter if it was from God or Allah or whatever, was written by a human hand. So I could tell you a story, or people listening to this right now have a completely different perspective or thought process of what us three are talking about. So if that goes, you know, we could have 10 people write about what they thought. They're going to pick up on different things. They're going to interpret it differently. And then that's what they believe happened. So for me, yes, I think there is a bigger power, but I think it's gotten lost in translation over the thousands, millions of years.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of due to religion, or I guess that what people interpretations of God. Because that's really what religion is.
I have faith. You know what I mean? Like faith. I don't like to say religion. I like to say faith. Mm-hmm. So.
You know, I don't really like to say religion. I like to say spirituality, because it's a little more vague. But if you get into religions, you get into Christianity versus Islam.
And everything can be explained if you think about it long enough. If you allow your mind to be open. Like, I know one of the big things is 7 days. 7 days. How did he do it in 7 days? Listen, there are things that I do not understand, and I talk about it like an adult trying to teach a child something. You have to dumb it down. You have to make it make sense for that child, because they don't understand everything you do.
Yeah. So
I don't think it's coincidental that there were a lot of days before there was light, right? Before we were born. That's what I believe. You know, there's a reason that it says sisters and brothers in all the books, because we're all from one thing, right? Because everybody's like, oh, that means millions of years ago we're all related. That doesn't make sense. Well, think about it. With animals, that makes sense, right? To, you know, when mice multiply or rabbits or whatever, it starts with 2 people and then brothers and sisters and whatever. Like, that's okay for them, but not for us. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, everything can be explained. And there's no coincidence that all the big 3 books, so the Quran, the Old Testament, and the New Testament, which stem the 3 biggest religions, are within 100 miles of each other.
Yeah.
You know, like that. To me, that can't be a coincidence. There has to be something there.
Well, how do you? Okay, those are like those are the 3 biggest religions today. But how do you account for the fact, like, if you talk about religion, there's probably
there's
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably just tens of thousands of different sects of Christianity. Yeah. So, you know, you think...
But that's religion, again. Like, a lot of that's fake. I mean, one of the big religions, Presbyterian, I think, was created because a king wanted to divorce his wife. So he changed stuff. Like, that's religion. But is there a God? Yes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, Mormons, like, that was created from a lie from one person, and they got, you know, all that stuff.
Joseph
like,
Smith?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, what do you think about, all right, somebody come to you, they say, hey, you know what, Mr. Fantastic, fuck you, because I'm an atheist. What do you think about that?
Great, man. Like, you know, you're still trying to...
Well, still fuck you.
Well, that's fine, but then the issue becomes, you're not being a good person. Like, atheists at their core try to be good people. I'm just a good person because I want to be, not because there's a higher power that's going to judge me. Like, that's their true belief, is like, listen, I'm doing all this stuff, science is real, all this stuff, because we want to be good people, not because we're scared we're going to go to heaven or hell. Like, when you look at it logically and look at the pure thing of all walks of life and spirituality and religion and all that stuff, it's a good thing. But, you know, we don't live in a world like that. So
Yeah, you just have as far as like you mentioned religion versus faith. Like for me, I'm not really religious, like in any regard. Like I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and in all honesty, it was just like
you knocking on doors?
Boring.
Hey, brother.
No, I never did. Hey,
riding your little tandem bike and your white.
Did you hear the message, sister? Did you hear the word?
The Watchtower book, what it's called. Like, but my family, most of my mom's side at least, is Jehovah's Witness, and for me, it's basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically like super Christian. It's basically like
like because you don't know holiday, no birthdays.
We had it all. I don't know. We had that's what we were, but
it was
it
halfway
wasn't,
Jehovah. You don't even believe in Jehovah.
Like,
well,
we weren't really that
that's
practiced.
The other thing either. It's like you know, people are like, oh, you can't.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't do
this,
this, you can't do that, and
you'll
you
go
can't.
out and be,
why can't I? Screw you, man! Like,
and even if that's what you believe, there are tons of people who will do it. It's like you can't do this or that, and you'll be.
They find ways around it.
You'll be the pastor saying you can't do this or that.
I could do Christmas on this day because as the Lord wrote, he had gifts. They brought, see, the three kings brought Jesus gifts on his birthday. That's why I get to get gifts for the day.
December 25th historically wasn't even when he was born. It was the middle of the summer.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
and
you
like
get a lot of different interpretations on that. I've heard like he was born in March or something.
Yeah.
Like shit. So who knows?
You have weird stuff like that where it's all these. It's the same story, but just different ways. And as far as faith versus religion, because I used to work with a guy who's fairly religious, and he asked me as far as like anger and stuff. He's like, "What gets you by?" And I was like, "It's me," because he was, for him it was spirit based as far as God helping him through a tough situation. And for me, it's just like I just kind of get over it, and it's not religion based. It's just I just kind of move past.
For me, it's my kids and my wife and their endless love that I see. You know what I mean? And like, just the world trying to be a better place. I mean, that's spirituality. That's a higher power, right? Because I have no control of it. I don't always understand it. And that's the definition of a higher power. So for me, there is a God, but I don't think it's the God we depict, right? Like, I think it's just this higher power that, exactly.
Right. If you are a Muslim, you're gonna say it's Allah because that's how you interpret it. If you're a Christian, you're gonna call him Jesus.
Yep.
If you are Hindu, you might say, just different stuff. So you're right. If you can attest to there is something going on outside of the control that I'm aware of, then you can go ahead and call that God. You know what I'm saying? You can just end it with that. So
but what about you, man?
Man, me, I believe in know thyself. I believe in you have to study to find God. I've studied a lot, and one of my favorite subjects is spirituality and metaphysics. So I read a lot of books. I onced over the Bible front to back. You know what I'm saying? I've got into the Quran. You know what I'm saying? Read some of the Torah. Got into different Christian sects, Gnostic Christianity, which is probably one of the most ancient forms of Christianity. So yeah, I mean, the information is out there. You can walk around and believe in whatever. You can believe what your pastor tell you, but if you want to dive into these books with a real world interpretation, you can, and it's right there. And like I said, you'll be surprised because some of it kind of all connects when you studying like that. It really does.
Tons of movies of stuff like that where things are so similar, yet at this point at least scene is so insanely drastically different, but you take it back to the source and it's oddly familiar across the board.
So with that said, we got into a little philosophical hour for you guys, but definitely email us at
instuster@icloud.com.
Yeah, tell us what you guys want us to talk about. Remember, we just a few nobodies in this room talking about bullshit. So, what I'm saying, email us some good topics. If you like anything you heard today, man, comment on this video and just let us know what you think. And Invisiblekatana, man, where can they follow you, bro?
I am at Invisiblekatana on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And don't forget to follow me at Anarchist Beats with a Z on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And that's the show for today, guys. We will see you next week. Peace.